When did you first see Logan 5 in the Dome City, surrounded by colorful lights, young, smiling faces, and a silent countdown clock on his palm? Logan's run resembled a sci-fi dream at the time. In a clean, pleasure-driven culture, death is glorified as rejuvenation. Did you realize that the film we've been seeing for nearly 50 years has a different version? Darker, colder, and tougher to accept. MGM sequences have obliterated entire moments in Logan's run for nearly 50 years. The studio was judged unsafe for mass audiences. The film begins with Francis executing a runner to the cheers of the audience. An personal bond between Logan and Jessica transcends romanticism. Even a funeral commemorating blind loyalty was erased to create a highly entertaining sci-fi show. The film has 7 deleted sequences that convey the intended darkness of Logan's journey if shown in full. Like opens the door. MGM closed in 1976.7. Opening scene eliminated. Francis executes a runner in front of the audience. Logan's run was characterized by frigid lines of narration describing the world's rules in a controlled, almost scientific manner for years. A familiar, safe opening, allowing for a comfortable seat and acceptance of a well-managed fiction work. There is no violence, moral shock, or reason to look away. However, Logan's run did not start that way. On the first scene, the video begins on a busy plaza, capturing daily life. Francis, dressed as a Sandman, pursued a scared runner through the crowd. Neither warning music nor merciful cutaway exist. Hunt unfolds openly in front of everyone. The most horrifying moment is the crowd's reaction, not the deadly shot. As the runner collapses, the audience cheers and applauds as if they witnessed a true show. We cannot evade or hide death. It is welcomed and worst, enjoyed. The film immediately conveys that society does not tolerate killing. It now enjoys it. Many who attended the test screening reported that the opening left the audience in quiet. Not for graphic brutality, but for the lack of moral escape for the audience. There is no innocent person in the world. There is no one outside. No, Francis is not a villain. He is merely doing what society celebrates. MGM responded quickly. The studio found the opening overly dark and straightforward, making it difficult to identify with Logan's situation from the start. If people dislike the society too early, they may not continue watching the film. To improve safety, the opening was replaced with disconnected narration and abstract content. From then on, Logan's run was clean from the start. The film depicted a flawed system in need of correction, rather than a community that had abandoned its moral compass. Audiences were unaware that the first scene they were not allowed to see was the most honest warning the film ever delivered. 6. Jessica's soaked scene indicated Sanctuary's unsafeness. Are you curious about a little but intriguing aspect in Logan's run? Why does Jessica suddenly appear drenched, as if she has endured a traumatic event? However, the film provides no explanation. The experience is fleeting, but Sanctuary stays a serene location in remembrance. 1 Last sanctuary after the pandemonium. Audiences were unaware that the scene describing Jessica's soaked appearance existed, making Sanctuary more terrifying. So terrifying, MGM decided to completely remove it, as if the film never ventured there. Logan and Jessica encounter unkindness when they reach the outer community in the original cut. The woman in the sanctuary appears friendly and willing to help, but soon reveals her plan to betray them. Confrontation occurs rapidly and chaotically, without spectacular staging or music. Jessica is shoved and falls into a deep, cold body of water during the struggle, vanishing from the picture for several seconds, leading Logan to fear she is dead. The camera in this scene focuses on discomfort rather than activity. Sanctuary is a community where individuals still mistrust, betray, and sell out the defenseless to protect themselves. Thus, it is not paradise. No visible distinction exists between the dome and the free world, contrary to audience expectations. A member of the editing team noted that this scene made the test screening very heavy. Logan escaping the city did not bring viewers relief, but rather unease. This was just what MGM did not want. A sci-fi movie cannot leave the audience with a sense of insecurity. A quick decision was made. Only the little impact of Jessica appearing damp remained when the entire sequence was eliminated. Sanctuary was transformed into a nebulous metaphor of optimism, rather than a serious moral issue. Critics argue that if this moment had stayed, Logan's story would have a different meaning. Escape is not enough, freedom comes with no assurances. The hazardous sanctuary sequence was removed due to its honesty, allowing audiences to imagine a paradise that never existed. Point 5. Logan, Jessica. The erased personal scene crossed a line. In the film, Logan and Jessica are often depicted as a couple on the run in a harsh future. Not overly intense, yet near enough for company. A safe connection, typical of 1970s sci-fi. Moderate tension, restrained romanticism, and no discomfort. In the first cut, their intimacy was greater. The removed footage reveals their connection involving explicit physical intimacy, structured by an unequal power dynamic. In the original version, Logan approaches Jessica as a Sandman with control over her fate, rather than a man seeking connection. He is aware that Jessica runs. He understands the system and understands that her decisions, whether to cooperate or flee, are influenced by that authority. The familiarity between them is never neutral from the start. The initial moments do not require violence or explicit threats. They are harmful. Alternatively, a slow pace, prolonged intimacy, and prolonged stares might cause an imbalance in the audience. Jessica is not as free as Logan, and Logan is not wholly innocent in approaching her. Romantic intimacy is not this. The line between protection and control is blurred in this gray area. MGM interfered because of this implication. The imagery was not explicit, but the moral suggestion was too risky. The protagonist wasn't just a victim of the system, but deliberately used it to develop intimacy. This picture required audiences to stand with Logan, therefore crossing this barrier was not possible. Logan lost his unnerving edge when these events were softened or deleted, but his redemption road was not properly articulated. His sudden transition into a chilly figure left audiences feeling a rupture without understanding the cause. A difficult awakening to power and guilt was streamlined into a few light changes. Today, Logan and Jessica's relationship is typically viewed as a simple sci-fi romance. However, the version viewers were not allowed to see was even more uncomfortable. This novel explores reliance, power hiding as protection, and the realization that individuals are not only influenced by the system but also become part of it. 4. The Ice Cave and the Lost Romantic Moment. Do you recall the scene where Logan and Jessica enter the ice cave? A cold blue light washed over them. The film's rhythm appears to be lost due to its stillness. The sequence is stunning, but viewers may feel that the film skipped over something important. This moment should have lasted longer. The original cut of Logan's run did not anticipate this feeling. The ice cave provided both refuge and a critical moment of reflection. The absence of acts, glances, and physical proximity created an emotional separation. The theatrical version is never fully satisfying. In the early cut, the ice cave serves as both a unique refuge and the first emotional silence shared by Logan and Jessica. The characters are compelled to shed their heavy clothing due to the cold, not for display but for survival. The cave robot imitates the 2 by slowly and precisely creating ice blocks. Humans before it. During a tranquil moment, a quick kiss marks a boundary crossing without being dramatic or rushed. The scene is sensitive due to its timing, not the event itself. This is not a typical romantic moment. For the first time, their intimacy transcends pursuit and power, becoming an emotional choice. A kiss does not indicate complete resolution. It just whispers, "We are changing." MGM erased the entire passage, not just a private part. They eliminated a psychological shift. Later sequences in the theatrical version show Logan and Jessica growing closer, but without explanation. Their relationship seems natural, rather than built in silence and risk. Audiences just saw the ice cave as a lovely scene in the rendition. In the original cut, their relationship evolved from incidental companionship to intentional attachment. When that sequence was eliminated, the film missed a vital development stage. The reason Logan and Jessica committed to remain together instead than just running together. 3 Scheduled sex and pleasure society were softened in viewers' recollections. The sexual themes in Logan's run can be seen as mere adornment for the future. Soft lighting and open atmosphere. Humans touching without taboo. This is why the Dome City is typically associated with freedom. A society that has moved beyond previous moral constraints. However, sex was not framed this way in the early cuts. The original version depicts physical relationships as part of a structured daily routine. More of a social routine than a personal choice. They happen routinely, rapidly, without emotional impact, and leave no lasting impact. Nobody asks names. No one awaits the next gathering. Every encounter aims to avoid creating lasting memories. The scenes are unnerving due to their soulless repetition. Sex in Dome City is permitted. On the contrary, it is promoted and standardized. The capacity for attachment is closely controlled. People can be physically near but not have strong enough relationships to break the social cycle. Therefore, the early cut love areas feel distinct. They are more like public services than private chambers, with order, cleanliness, and anonymity. No sense of personal life or belonging is present. Everything is structured to allow intimacy within limitations, ending before it may deepen. These sequences were modified by MGM because to their moral implications. The meaning was too frigid, not because the imagery crossed a line. Although not sexually liberated, this society has used sex to regulate collective emotions. Short-lived friendships reduce suffering for individuals. They also inquire less. They resist less due to weaker attachment. The theatrical version shortened these passages, making the Dome City seem like a fun and enjoyable place. Sexuality was viewed as a personal right. Openness resembled freedom. Audiences missed the film's primary message that violence is unnecessary for social management. Simply make all relationships transient. Sex is color in the edited version. The original term is mechanism. By hiding this mechanism, Logan's Run no longer poses the most unpleasant question, revealing a culture that allows touch but not permanence. Are you truly free or just a perfected kind of control masquerading as pleasure? 2. Cubs and cut truth. The outside is no safer than the inside. A moment in Logan's Run is remembered by viewers, but the reason for its speed is unclear. Logan and Jessica meet the Cubs, survivors outside the Dome City. Everything happens quickly and chaotically, leaving no lasting impression. Although you recognize the danger outside, you don't feel it. That rashness was intentional. A complete chapter of Logan's Run was dedicated to the showdown with the Cubs in the original edit. Logan and Jessica experience sustained stalking and exploration, creating a sense of unease for viewers. The Cubs represent a group that has abandoned social norms and prioritizes violence as a first response. In this form, the outer world gives no sensation of freedom. The city is raw, unstable, and anarchic, unlike the Dome City. The danger lies in its manifestation, not its level of threat. In contrast to the frigid control within, the outside is chaotic. Even with his Sandman skills, Logan finds himself at a disadvantage when rules are removed. This sequence was too heavy for MGM's desired rhythm due to the contrast. Prolonged conflict with the Cubs leads to stalemate, removing any momentum from the escape narrative. Nothing is superior to someplace else. This is why the theatrical release ruthlessly truncated the sequence. After these events ended, the Cubs posed a brief, almost illustrative challenge. As the outside world became less dangerous, Logan and Jessica's escape switched from survival to adventure. Audiences no longer had to feel uncertain about exiting the system. That is the most crucial aspect missing in this scene. The initial cut did not guarantee freedom outside the Dome City. It revealed a harsher reality. Instead, when order falls, people do not automatically improve. Simply put, they become less predictable. 1. Francis's funeral. Deleted tragedy of ultimate allegiance. Audiences remember Francis in a peculiar way. He dies quickly and vanishes even faster. A stubborn foe, a fanatical Sandman, is eliminated to advance the tale. None mourn him. Nobody pauses. The film suggests you forget him after his collapse. However, Francis did not disappear in the original Logan's Run cut. The film showed a quick, chile, and emotionless funeral scene after Francis's death. It was not an emotional goodbye, but a systemic routine. Francis is registered, processed, and finished as a Sandman, fulfilling his role. No one questions his identity outside that function. This moment reveals Francis's genuine character. He is not a villain due to cruelty, but rather due to his dedication. The rules matter to him. His belief is in the carousel. He thinks killing runners is necessary to maintain order. Francis does not challenge the system. He is the ideal model the system builds and utilizes until it is exhausted. This is why the funeral scene was too risky. This pushes the audience to face an uncomfortable fact. Francis is similar to Logan at the beginning. Logan doubts over time, while Francis does not. As Francis is honored in death, the video explains, this is the fate reserved for perfect obedience. The entire sequence was eliminated by MGM due to the blurring of the good against evil line, not due to length or violence. Consider Francis as a victim, and Logan becomes more than just a hero. He escaped by chance and was crushed in the same way. The removal of the burial scene recast Francis as a villain who must be defeated in popular movies. The character's pathos and the message of blind loyalty were diminished. Audiences were no longer presented with the question of what is actually terrible in the world, the rules or those who believed in them till the end in the unreleased version. Francis does not lose the tail. He's its last warning, because the warning was too explicit and cold, it was removed, making Logan's dash an escape rather than a criticism of rule followers. Putting together all the deleted sequences from Logan's run reveals one thing. The film was removed not because to violence, but due to its honesty. Be honest about promoting death as entertainment. Be honest about using sex for management. Be honest about a society where devotion is not rewarded but eaten until it is depleted. The omitted scenes go beyond removing details, they change the moral orientation of the story. A survival journey between nightmares became a voyage towards the light. In the updated version, the film's most important message was hidden. What about you? Imagine watching the unreleased Logan's Run, where death is not hidden, sex is not freedom, and allegiance will lead to disaster. Would you like to see it or stick with the familiar version? Post your comments below, like, share, and subscribe to stay updated on future videos.